Good morning. Today we're going to talk about a comment that I've gotten recently on the video. I'm going to put a link up there when I'm done streaming. Why cops use 40, which got a lot of arguments back and forth on the caliber debate, even though that wasn't the purpose of the video at all. The purpose of the video was to show that gear isn't chosen, or at least shouldn't be chosen, in a vacuum, right? Gear isn't something that you choose in a vacuum. You have to pick the thing that works best for what you're doing, given the totality of the circumstances. And lots of times in police work, we're required to use certain stuff because of the rules that we have. So in that video, a guy made the argument, like, the best caliber is the one that you can shoot best, because with a headshot, you're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to knock that person out of the fight immediately. Sorry, homie. It's just not the case. Before everybody downvotes it and starts commenting down below without actually watching the video, I'm going to put in the description when I'm done streaming, I'm going to put a bunch of scholarly articles on this issue. Headshots are not a guarantee. The only time that headshots are a guarantee, that if you hit a person in the head and it makes it into the cranial vault, by the way, it's not the whole head, it's just the cranial vault, just the area that has the brain inside and has the brainstem. The only time that that's a guarantee is with .308 caliber and above. That creates enough shock inside and enough pressure inside the brain to guarantee the destruction of the medulla and the severing of the spinal column. Right? The brainstem's going to come off the brain. That's the lights out button. Now, the problem is that people get this idea that because snipers do that and it's an immediate lights out, that this is going to work by extension to every caliber that is smaller than .308, because it's guaranteed with .308. It's everything that's smaller than .308 is guaranteed too. And if we look at it that way, then hitting someone in the chest is a pretty good likelihood they're going to knock them out of the fight too, because .308 does that for us. The problem that you have is people take this extension all the way down. They're like, if you can shoot a .22 well and you can hit the guy in the head, then you're guaranteed you're going to knock him out of the fight. It's simply not true. It's simply not true. Now, there are a lot of cases of people getting killed with .22. And the problem that you have when you look at this argument and say, well, lots of people get killed with .22. In fact, several years ago, .22 was what killed more people, handgun round that killed more people than anything else in the United States. The reason is that there's so many of them were out there at the time. So these .22 rounds were flying around all the time in bad neighborhoods. People were getting hit with them, and they were dying. But dying eventually doesn't equal stopping the threat immediately. These are two entirely different things. And when you see that somebody says, well, this person died from .22, getting hit in the head with a .22 or getting hit in the chest with a .22, that obviously this is a good round for doing that. This is going to get the job done. It's simply not. It's a matter of math, and it's a matter of physics that if you poke holes in people, there's a good chance that they're going to die, especially when they're a long way from medical care, or medical care is delayed for some reason, right? Which is very common in bad neighborhoods. Medical care will be delayed because the police have to get there and secure the scene for the ambulance to come in. The ambulance is coming in, and they're going to work the person for a while and transport them to the hospital. A lot of people die. But a lot of people get shot with .22s and live. Like a whole boatload of people get shot with .22s every day. Every day people get shot with .22 and live. And every day people get shot in the head and live. I know that's scary to some people. They've been told by video games, and they were told in their military training, you hit somebody in the head, they're going to die. Well, in the military, it makes sense because they're using rifles, and they're using ball 9mm NATO spec 147 grain high pressure ammo that goes through things. And if you put a bullet through someone's brain case, there's a good chance they're going to be out of the fight. A very good chance. When you start bringing that down in caliber size, you start talking about 25s, 32s, 22s, 380s even, 9mm. Lots of the 9mm people do this for personal defense. 40 caliber, 45 ACP, 10mm even. You're not talking guarantees anymore. Now, obviously, the higher energy the cartridge is, the more likely it's to get through the skull. But it's not a guarantee. The problem that people have is that they don't understand that 90 degrees is how bullets are meant to be used, right? And yeah, you could penetrate a skull at 90 degrees if you hit them right in the front with a 25 ACP or a 22, right? But skulls, people's heads, are not flat. It's not a flat sheet of bone. Trillions of years have gone into crafting, through natural selection, the skull and making it into this helmet for the central nervous system of the body, for the most important organ that you have, for your brain, right? And so if you don't hit dead center square, it's going to bounce off. And they very often do. I had a guy a couple of weeks ago who was shot twice in the head with .40 caliber ball ammo, which is probably one of your best case scenarios for penetrating anything with .40 caliber ammo. Hit him twice in the face, right? What in a video game, which is I know where everybody gets this conception from, would have been a guaranteed instantaneous lights out, didn't go through. Didn't go through at all, right? Seen people hit with 25s, 380s, 32s, all that, 22s. They very, very often, when they hit the head, if they don't hit square dead on, they're going to bounce off. In fact, very often they hit dead square on, and some 22s will actually stop, pretty thick-headed people, but stop pretty square on the side of the head. I've seen people hit the side of the head with a 380, and you could actually see it was stuck in the side of their head. You could see the core of the bullet. Now, this had gone through glass first, but it had gone through glass, like plate glass, and then stuck in the side of somebody's head. It's not, at least not a guarantee. And then when you put intervening terrain in, or intervening like intermediate barriers, definitely not a guarantee at all, right? The other common conception is people say, well, you have to get into this T-zone, right? The triangle between the tip of the nose and the edge of the ears, it's called the T-zone, right? If you get it in here, it can come in through the optic nerves. It's the easiest way to get them into the brain. Again, we're talking from straight on, with the person looking straight at you and you shooting straight at them. And this is, again, not guaranteed. The idea that you're going to have this zone while someone's behind cover shooting at you, or they're fighting and moving and you're actually going to hit this little tiny zone, is just as smart as saying where you're going to hit them where it actually will work, which is the base of the skull, which you're not always going to have a shot at that, right? In fact, most of the time you're not. That's why we don't tell people to aim for the medulla. Like, it's not going to be a thing, right? Even hits in here aren't guaranteed to go into the brain pan, depending on caliber. Once a bullet hits a thing, all you're guaranteed is that that bullet is going to penetrate that thing if it has enough energy, so it has enough mass and speed, and it is at the right vector, which means it's going straight into it, to penetrate through that single thing. Once you do that, what bullets do might as well be magic. That's been my experience. And that's what, if you go try shooting handguns at things, you'll find out real fast. They deflect. And as soon as you hit a piece of a person, that bullet starts deflecting all over the place. And your head and your face is full of bones and cartilage and muscle and all sorts of stuff that are going to make these bullets go off different directions, right? Even in the T-zone. T-zone's our best case scenario, but even in the T-zone, it's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee at all. So don't think that a meme, something that you can put on a little picture and tell people, oh, well, look, that this, it's, you use whatever you can shoot best. That's not true. That's not true. If you go get a, World War I era 32 pistol that's, oversized by today's standards for 32, and you can shoot it really well because there's very little recoil and it's single action only and you can shoot it really, really well, don't think that that's a viable self-defense tool, that it's going to give you an instantaneous lights out if you hit the person in the head. Most likely with 25, 22, 32, all of that, bullet's going to come in, wherever you hit them in the head, it's going to slide around their skull, or it's going to bounce off, or it's going to get stuck somewhere inside of them, which is what happened with the 40 cal rounds. The argument about 22 working really well all on its own, that could be a video on its own, but I'll drop you a little bit of knowledge. At the time those statistics were made, 22s had flooded the American market, right? There were 22s everywhere. And when I started on the job, we were taking 22s off the street all the time. A couple of them a week. Little 22 revolvers and the little Larslin and Jennings 22 blowback pistols. And as of a few years ago, when a relatively high capacity 9mm became relatively cheap and affordable and available, for whatever political reason you want to attribute it to, we've seen fewer and fewer of these little 22s. And a lot of them have just been taken off the street by attrition. They only run so long. They're made of pot metal. They didn't work really well to start with. As they start to break, they just go away, and they're getting replaced with higher capacity 9mm handguns that, we're having fewer and fewer people shot with 22s and fewer people shot with 22s and killed because there just aren't as many of them out there anymore. So the math and the experiences of doctors and coroners does not match up with what's being spouted on the internet. And it's not matching up at all with what's being spouted by people making memes or commenting what is essentially a meme level sentence of description of what they think. And it's certainly not backed up by the experiences that I've had. And I know it's not backed up by the experiences of a lot of people who have actually seen people shot inside the continental United States and who are telling you, you don't want to use that for self-defense. I mean, if it's the only thing you can carry, then you can carry what you can carry. But don't purposely do something thinking, well, whatever I can shoot best is going to work well because I can always make up for the energy and velocity and vector of the bullet by being more accurate, because you just can't. There's beyond the equipment and beyond what the bullet's going to do when it gets there. Gunfights don't happen straight on like with a paper target or the way tests are done on a ballistics shell block with 4 layers of denim and then ballistics gel behind it and you shoot into it. Like that is simulating somebody getting basically shot in the leg or the gut, or if you put bones in it into the chest with the round at 90 degrees, and that's just not the reality of gunfights. The reality of most gunfights is people are ducking, people are diving, people are trying to hide behind things, bullets are flying back and forth. A lot of them are being sent to whom it may concern because you're getting shot at and they're shooting back at you and all that craziness. People are running away, people are running forward, people are moving to the sides, they're trying to flank, they're doing all these things, and you might not get a dead-on headshot or chest shot. You might be taking a shot at whatever you can get a shot at, which might be somebody's leg or shoulder. Right? So, if there's more questions about it from that, well, I could do another live stream later. Or maybe we combine them all together. I'll download it off of YouTube. We'll combine them together. But that's something that I think needs to get out there, because I hear a lot of people saying, well, whatever gun you shoot best is the best gun to use. And while I'd rather you have something that you can shoot well, it still needs to meet some very basic criterion for you to expect that when the round gets where it's going to do what you want it to do. Again, articles are going to be down below. Feel free to peruse them. Ask questions about it in the comments. I'm always open to questions. I'm always open to learn new things. Because I'll tell you, the way I learned this is I started seeing things happening on the street, and I said, that doesn't look right. That's not what I've been told. That's not what I've learned. And so then I go research them, and I say, oh, why is this happening? Why is this happening when this shouldn't happen? This shouldn't happen. This isn't what I was taught. And then when I research into it, I go, oh, this topic is a lot larger than I was led to believe. And the statistics that I'm being led to believe are not exactly what they appear to be. So check those articles out down below. Also, as points of order, and since I'm live streaming, but apparently no one got the notification, so I don't have anything to talk about. We're only 12 minutes in. The patches came in. Finally came in properly. The other one, I got patches in a while ago. They didn't have a line around the outside, but I contacted the company, which is Patches for Less, about the line on the outside thing, and they remade them for free for me. So it came out pretty good. Those I'm hoping to have up on the website sometime in the near future. So no guarantee exactly when, but sometime in the near future, I want to get these out on the website. We'll work out pricing and shipping and all that stuff. But those are here. I got a bunch of those. Just picked them up from the mailbox. And there's a bunch of videos just got up on the Patreon. A couple weeks ahead, actually, and I've got a lot of stuff still in the can for things that I want to put out. I'm doing this live stream right now, buy myself a little time on the educational videos. I got a lot of stuff from the EMS Expo, but the educational videos are coming out. There's what I keep in the bag that I keep in my trunk. There's more stuff about medical equipment. I'm going to go over med bags, and there's a couple other things. And there's some cool equipment stuff coming out too. Bravo Concealment's supposed to be sending me some stuff to look at. I've got the Harry's Holsters Contender here that I shot the review of, but I haven't edited it up yet. And I've got a Narcan tester that I want to do a video with. And the mic, the magnetic mic. I'm trying to get a car that I can actually install it to and videotape me installing it. It's harder than it looks. But we're working on that. And a bunch of other stuff coming up. So, hit the little notification bell too, because apparently you can't just subscribe now on YouTube. You have to subscribe and then notify them that you want to get notifications about the stuff that you told them that you wanted to see that you haven't seen yet, which I don't get. But until next week, guys, be safe. Take care of each other.